announcement to make. I'm sorry, I should have said this earlier. Unfortunately, our last session, because we're actually running late on time, our last session is going to be Thomas, and the ink session has been called off due to the speaker could not make it from Singapore. So I regret to inform you that the last session will be the next one that we have after tea. So please come back quickly after tea. Thank you.
Technologists. In last session we discussed a lot of investment planning and competition and so many things. Friends, I was attending one seminar on business management from SPJ, and it's related to the last session what we had. And in Indian scenario, there is a lot of undercutting happening. If somebody is offering at rupees 10, other printer will offer at rupees 950, then the person who was offering 10, he will reduce to 9, and so on. So this competitors kill your business and kill yourself. So on that seminar was based, and the speaker nicely told that if you are offering 10 and somebody is offering at 950, you should not reduce your price. You should give on rupees 10 some value addition, some embossing, some nice spot coating which is on maybe online your machine, and by that you can convince your client, and then only you will have an edge over other printers. You will have an edge over on the competitive field, and I think we should do that. And value addition is the subject now today also. Value addition is every step in the printing. It is at prepress where we use hexachrome, MFX and CTP, and then on to press where inline coating or spot coating or then foil stamping. Everywhere the value addition taking place. But today we are talking on in this session on coating technologies. Mr. Thomas Walther, working for Roland since last 15 years, and he worked in so many departments. He was working in Roland since 1986 in process department, printing text department, and R&D department, and now he is the head of department for new technologies. Thanks to Sachin Birkar to get him here, because it is very difficult to get such a man. So thanks Sachin again, for your effort. And he is responsible for main topic emphasis in RFID technology, the use of special coating and new finishing methods, and he likes to have a direct contact with the customer. So if there is an email ID of his, you can talk with him on any time, wherever you want his help. And again, the second main emphasis was the direct print of corrugated cardboard and heavy cardboard with offset printing techniques. So I think we are going to learn a lot from Thomas. So over to Thomas. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Walther again, and I'm in charge of the pre-development. I want to explain a little more about pre-development. Pre-development, Roland decided to look more in the future, what will happen to the printing industry in 5 or 10 years. And this department deals a lot with printing technologies for electronics, for example. How we can make an interactive packaging, or how we can make other advertisements. And another thing is printing displays. Could be a future for the printing industry, because we are a very good coder. There's so many technologies in the market which can print a layer so even on a substrate like a printing machine. If we look at some other parts of electronics industry, they have more problems than we because the eye is very sensitive. You can see a slight difference in layer thickness. You can see as a color difference. So many people in the electronics industry is interested in our know-how. So from this point of view, you are in a very high technical economic part of the industry. So I want to speak today about coating technologies. With the coating technologies, you're mostly on the right side of the peanut, not on the left side. And he thought that the glass manufacturers have a lot of fancy brochures, but I want to ask you if everybody has this brochure, because I will do many references to that. So on the table there, you can find some more. In this brochure, we have with different techniques the same picture coated, so we can see the differences. But the most important question is why we should coat a product, or why we should make varnish on it. And please forgive me, I can only offer figures from the European market, but that's the typical purchasing situation. Roland is looking at the product in the packaging, and normally she can't see what is in it. The packaging gives her the impression about the quality. If it's bad printed, she won't buy it, won't buy it. And the main goal is that she puts the product in the shopping cart, because only if a product is sold, we can earn money. Also the brand owner, but also the printing industry. And there was an interesting survey 2 years ago where purchasing decisions are made. And interesting is the most purchasing decisions are made at the shelf in the supermarket. And it's driven for different products. If you look at the baby food, it's very low percentage, because the baby food you have to trust in the quality, because baby is sensitive. But for goods like chips or mashed potato, fried potatoes, more than 70% of the decisions are made at the shelf. The consumer looks at the product and decides, today I take this or I take this. And with chocolate and candies, it's the same. And if you look back, we have a very cheap supermarket in Germany called Aldi. The chocolate was printed in very four-color printing, simple packaging. Nowadays, also the cheap products has a high sophisticated coating, enhancement, and embossing, gold, silver, because they know this, that the packaging helps a lot to sell products. The second question is, what is the best advertising medium? It's also 2 years ago called Facet Study. It's made in the US and Europe, and a lot of consumers and experts were asked what they think is for the first buy is the best advertising medium. And still there, the packaging is on the second place. So only TV has a better place than packaging. And there's many things you think is very effective, like sales letters. They told they have no effect. And this was where people asked from advertising companies. Packaging is very important. And if you look at the big purchase, the packaging is on the first place. The customer wants to recognize his product and wants to get every time the same quality. So it's very important to give big attention to the printing quality and the appearance of the packaging. But also in magazines we see a lot of rumor about coating. So in Germany, many commercial companies coat every cover. But now still they're starting to coat every page, because there's different reasons. The first reason is the quality reason. Second reason is I can get the paper in quicker way to the finishing. still, if you look at the magazine blood, you have to differentiate one product from another. So, if you look, there's a different ways to differentiate. We can, by the price, we have learned the left side of the figure, by the building quality, by the shape and form of the product, by visual effects like gloss or matte gloss effects, by senses effects, or by tactile effects like embossing. And with the points 2, 4, 5, and 6, coating can help. So I want to show you some possibilities how we can differentiate by shape. If you look at the Christmas tree, everybody knows that it's a product for Christmas. If the packaging is not printed, you know what is in it. Or you can imagine that it is a perfume packaging. And what is upcoming is the very old technology is smell. Make a coating by smell. If you look at the photos, you see a smell of a coffee, or the smell of a flower, and or the smell of the apple. Imagine you have a package you take home and it smells what is in it. And it's a nice technology. I've set some samples with me. If you rub or you take, it starts smell. Or you open a paper, it starts smell. It's upcoming now again. It was a big rumor 10 years ago, but nowadays you can see a lot of these technologies. So, we start the presentation about coating. So, varnish could be more than gloss, as I told you. And also, varnish is a unique class of inks. Varnish should not be only white or clear. Varnish can have a glossy, dull, or satin finish, and varnish can be purely functional. So I have lots to do with functional varnish. For example, moisture resistant or moisture barrier coating, or if you pack something in for the micro oven to heat it up, there's a special coating. Or if you need a grease resistant coating, that the grease doesn't integrate into the packaging. Varnish can be also purely functional. But varnish can also be a design element. I made this photo many times. It was very hard to make this photo. But as you can see, this is a new brochure from Porsche Cayenne. This is a new, beautiful car. And all the brochure is printed only to a third. And the rest is completed by a varnish design. This is a picture of the motor. And here you can see other parts of the motor only by very glossy bending, very glossy spot coating. It gives an image of a high quality product. And if you look at the brochures of the big car companies like Mercedes or Porsche, mostly the more expensive cars, they're using spot coating, in this case UV spot coating, not many times as a design element. But let us start with the easiest application form. From the point of application, the oil-based overprint varnish is the easiest kind in the point of view of the application. This is a varnish which is resembles like with the same ingredients like a conventional ink, but without pigments. And the main advantage is they can handle it in the same way as a normal offset ink, and they can use the same washing mediums. You haven't to change between that. And you can achieve a very good spot varnish by using the blade in the same way. But also you can use a leather shade blade or strip blanket. If you look at advantages, as I told you, the very good spot register. And the second big advantage of this one is you can coat very light paper without changing the dimension of the paper. If you put a water-based coating on it, you normally have some dimension problems. So it's very dedicated to very light papers like 28 grams or 30 grams that they normally coat only with this oil-based varnish. And they can use in the same way as the offset, normal offsetting. But everything this has advantages, or the disadvantages, and the big disadvantage is a long drying time. The oxidation drying takes hours or sometimes days depending on the substrate. The maximum gloss is limited because the layer you can put down with the inking unit is only 1 up to 3 micrometers. If you have a very uneven surface, you have to cover with a thicker layer to close it. And another thing which is, especially the packaging bad, is that they can have a strong odor. So it can change the appearance of the product inside. And another point is that oil paint varnish can yellow quickly. There's some fission products of the oxidation drying which penetrate into this paper and make it yellow. And there's a lot of coatings on the market which shows only a slight tendency for yellowing, but it still happens. And so it could be a problem. But the oil paint varnish got a big revival with the long perfectors because they use it normally before the perfecting unit and in the last printing unit, only to get the highest cut and up resistance to avoid damages during the cheese transport. So we see a lot of companies which coat every page in the perfecting press. But on the other hand, you have to use 2 printing units, which is not for printing, it's for varnishing. And it's depending if your customers pays or not. We have a lot of companies in Germany which coat every page only for security reasons, but they get no money for that. The second big class is aqueous coating. Aqueous coating you can put down in different ways. They have normally water as solvent, and they have ingredients of which works for the gloss. The content of solids is between 30 and 40%. And these inks don't dry chemically, like the oil press varnish that dry by evaporation and absorption. And there's a different ways we can put down a dispersion coating on paper. The first is by the inking unit like oil pressed varnish, oil print varnish. By the dampening unit, many people do that, by an add-on coater, or by a separate coating unit. So today is normally people use separate coating units. I will come to this point because this has a lot of advantages. But I want to show the advantages and disadvantages of other solutions also. If you compare the oil print varnish with aqueous print varnish, they have a lot of advantages. The first is they dry faster. They give better gloss, and they don't have the tendency to smell. They are neutral, and they don't show yellowing. But if you put it down by the inking unit, it's very difficult to process. So the blanket and the blades have to heat up every machine stop because the ink train is very long and has a long time to dry. And you have to clean up the ink train at every longer machine stop. And you have to prevent the varnish from filling on rollers, blankets, and plates. No one use spray a retarder on, and it's very hard. And so for this reason, not many people use this kind of application. It's something for specialists. But there's some people in the commercial area which do that, but normally the sales rate of this coating is not so good, because it's very difficult to handle. The other problem which can occur is that the ink water balance is influenced by the coating. If the ink train is not clean properly. The second way to put on aqueous coating is by the dampening unit, which is used in many cases. And spot coating can be achieved by cutting the blanket or by using a leather press plate. The major disadvantage is the loss of one printing unit also, because if you use a dampener, you can't print with this printing unit. And the time for changeover between printing and coating via dampening unit is very high, because you have to clean up very clear. But still, some companies in Germany do this. So we have a big customer, Tritzinger, it's near Frankfurt, I visited, and they have a lot of 900 printing machines and 700 printing machines. In the beginning, they hadn't any coder, and they still code with an offline old Roland Ultra by a dampening unit with very high quality. I was impressed about the quality. So it could be a starting point. But today, every new machine they order with an inline coder, because you don't have the second pass and you have the inline quality. But the starting was an offline machine with a dampener. Normally, you can use for the dampening unit the wide writer type dampening unit is very good for that. What is
67.
What?
1967.
The machine for 1967 is still working as a coating unit. They work 2 shifts on this machine, but in the German we have very high labor costs, so it's not very cost effective, because we have the second pass through. They use it as a dampening. I have one, I thought, you can see here, this is dampening unit. This is a coating inside, and this is the dampening unit with tube to, was heißt Wischroller? Wischroller. Roller, also.
When they put it through the dampening unit, is it continuous or is it...
Now this is a vibrator child.
It works well with that.
Yeah?
It works well with the vibrator type.
Yeah, vibrator. Also with all the type of dampening units. But the quality is still higher. I was very impressed. And they sell a lot of packaging and coated paper. Interesting is, we heard yesterday that the Jackson flight planes are made all digital. So I know that Stritzinger is the biggest deliverer of Jackson flight planes. So they are very dedicated to light coated paper in the big format. And if you fold down the flight planes, this is used normally for that 900. There's a lot of add-on coders on the market, different ways. There are some companies which are more dedicated to retrofitting, but also we have now a new add-on coder which strengthens against the blanket, and you can use the printing unit in different ways, as a printing unit or as a coating unit. The big advantage against the other solution is that there is no disturbance between the coating and the printing and dampening, because the cleanup is very easy. You have to clean up only the blanket, not the dampening unit or the ink train. So it's a good solution for somebody who coats only sometimes, or not if the job is coated. The disadvantage is a little bit that you have to use a high-speed coating, or a coating which dries fast, because normally the coating atom coaters will start in machines with normal delivery. So you will have the full size. Yeah. You can put also a spot coated plate on it, everything. And the way is molded in this way, and you swung against the blanket and it works. And it's newest analog technology with chambered structure plate. So there's a lot of this equipment on the market. And I think it will be very successful and we have good response from the market. It's not available this year, but in the middle of next year it's worldwide available. It's still in the test phase, so we have to learn a little bit more and then we can deliver it to the market. But the most people use coding units as a separate coding solution. Separate coding units. Picture shows a coding unit of Roland dedicated to high quality coding. We use generally only analogs and chambered structure plates because we think it's the best way to code something and to get an even surface. And the main advantage of this system is the amount of coding you apply to the paper is independent of the speed. If you have two rollers which squeeze together, every time you have we call it hydrodynamic effect. If you go to higher speed, you put down more coding to the paper or to the board. And with higher speed, you need higher drying energy, but with bigger layer also, and the two negative effects add together. So with an analog solar, you are independent from the speed. The amount of coding is independent from the speed you put down on the paper. The second thing is very even in the machine direction, because if you have two rollers and put them together, then it tends to flex, and you have normally in the middle more than in the borders. So we think this is the best way to code something. We have a lot of equipment like the pumps, the horse pumps, which helps to change very quick between different coding types. And to speak a little bit about the advantages of inline production. What we have seen is offline by a deadening unit by a special coder, and the major advantage is you finish the job if it is rendered, because it's rendered and coded. And you save material, storage costs, transport costs, and above all production time. And to give you a rough idea, more than 50% of all printing machines Roland delivers at the moment is equipped with a coder. And if you look at the sub-segment of the packaging industry, it's 75%. The coding unit can be indicated with the press upstream, downstream of the printing unit. We have at the moment a lot of printing machines with the coder in front of printing, because also in Germany, the material cost is 70% normally in packaging on the production. So if you can buy a cheaper board and coat it to the high quality, it could be helpful. You could put down some special coatings like an iodine coating and print on it. And so this is a machine chip which is very successful in the moment worldwide. We have sold some to the States, and I heard to Australia, I think Australia also. So, because mainly people want to buy a cheap board and enhance the quality of the board via coating. And what we every time be independent on where the coating station is, we use two trial stations, because if you want to print on it, you have to try it very hard. There's a lot of machines in the market with only one station, or between the double coder only one station. We generally deliver only two drying stations, because that gives you secure the production. Because this is a very expensive machine, and if you have to lower a lot the production speed because the coating is not right, it could be not effective. So I brought this sample with you, this sample book for you, and there's every time is a paper and cardboard coated in the same way to show you the difference between the quality you can achieve. The first sample, it's called inline dispersion coating in paper, is made for color blend and the dispersion coating on top.
Is it aqueous or aqueous?
Huh?
Polish is aqueous or
Aqueous. Yeah. In Germany we call it not aqueous, we call it dispersion coating, but it's the same thing.
this entire field of dispersion? No. First thing. First one. We talked about page 1, right?
Yeah, page 1.
Yeah. First one.
Here on the top of the picture is written the correction.
This is the kind of gloss you get?
Yeah.
Normally this is the kind of gloss you get? Gloss? Yeah, it is never Roland only.
Yeah, this is a normal gloss. It's not the highest gloss, but this is the normal gloss which you can achieve normally. Then you can achieve up to in gloss points with dispersion coating, but it's very depending on the paper and you print, the substrate you print on 70 or 75 is the maximum. But normally with normal paper, I think it ends at maximum 70 or 65, but you can achieve this dispersion coating. What is a big advantage of aqueous coating? You can use normal conventional things. They have lower price but lower dot gain, and they're easy to handle. You have a very stable print process, and you need only a cheaper dryer if you have UV and IR and hot air dryer. It's very expensive. And the disadvantage is that you have limited matte gloss effects. If you have a UV coating, you can achieve a higher gloss and a higher difference. And you need a certain drying time. If you look at UV coatings, they offer similar advantages like dispersion or aqueous coating. Also, one advantage is no solvent emission and increased productivity, but there are also a clear difference in functional values in many aspects. To make the best coding decision depends on knowing something about how and when they work to advantage. Not for everybody is UV coating the best choice. UV coatings dries rapid. If they're irritated with light, they dry. And if they go out of the light, it burns. So it's very quick drying. The film is formed by a polymerization reaction. So I can tell you a lot about the chemical process, but I think it's late in the evening. But they have also aesthetic differences, the functional and aesthetic differences. And if you make a decision for a coating, you have to look at the capital cost. So if I look to Matthias, he spoke a lot about investment costs, and UV dryer is very expensive, and also it's UV equivalent. So you have to look at the operation cost, the maintenance cost. So, for example, if you switch between the production conventional and UV, you have to put out the dryers, UV dryers. You have to change several things like washing agents. That all takes time. And you have to look at it. But UV coating has a clear advantage if you look at matte gloss effects. It's clear. You need some customers who pay for that. Simple. And this shows a typical machine for UV printing. You print with UV inks or with high-type inks, and you put UV gloss on it. You need dryers in between the printing stations, and especially roller covering, so for UV printing. And you can see the results, not in the next page. It's very in the back. Here. This is the UV coding on the same page. What you see is a clear difference in gloss. It's a Chinese sample here. What are the advantages of UV coding? Faster job completion. We do not need spray powder. If you look, many products, you can feel the spray powder on top, and it gives a bad tactile effect. If you feel coating, you do not have that. You have a very smooth surface. We can also print on a wider range of substrates. Plastic printing needs normally UV. There is some conventional inks can print in plastic, that is a hard job to do. And UV printing is also well proven and tested process. So we have so much customers worldwide which print only UV. There's no discussion if it's no new technology. It's a well-known technology. There's also some disadvantages. You have to, yeah?
Products have a limited shelf life. What is that? Products have a limited shelf life. What do you mean by product? Shelf life. Limited shelf life.
Shelf life. If you have a UV ink and you put it in the shelf and let it sit down in half a year, it can be destructed by the shelves. Especially if it's the room which is very hot or warmer than normal. So it happens sometimes if you look at the shelf with a lot of ink boxes or ink cans that some are destroyed. And this could be a problem. So some shades of color, for example, is hard to get in UV, which is very easy to get in conventional. So if you put something by side for the next production, you could have a problem. And but the disadvantage is the higher production cost. You have to earn more money with this product. Another possibility is to put down a primer on a conventional ink and put then UV coating on top, which we call primer UV coating process. So normally the conventional ink and the UV coating is chemical, they don't like each other. So if you put the UV coating on top, it gives a very rapid rigid layer, and the conventional ink dries over time. And this drying, the volume and surface changes, and normally breaks down the UV coating and it comes matte. If you coat the conventional ink directly with UV coating at the beginning, it looks very shiny, and after 2 hours you can forget it because it's better than heavy dispersion coating. So this process uses conventional ink, and you put a primer, what primer is a special aqueous coating between as a buffer, and it helps that the UV coating doesn't suck down, but also it makes a chemical bonding between the two layers. And this process has advantages, also disadvantages. The big advantage is you can use conventional inks. We have a stable process, we have no cost-effective inks, we need no special plates, and we can use this double coating for many applications. For example, for gold, silver, or metallurgy, which is a very shiny gold, blister, matte, gloss aromatic, you can do everything. But you have to have a shop for this. So if you look at the blister coating is only possible with double coating, or some barrier varnishing is also possible with double coating because you need a thick layer. And gold coating is helpful to make it with double coating because the gold is not very rust resistant, and you put it in a varnish, it helps that it's got rust resistant. You can make brilliant matte and gloss effects, and you have a great flexibility. But the double coater costs double. Yeah. Yeah. This is a higher investment for coating plates with special effects. And there is a limited register accuracy between coating plates, because the coating plates are relief plates, and you have the printing plates at different levels. And it's hard to get an exact register. But the quality is still near, you can achieve a gloss, is still near from UV coating. Here, it's inline double lux dispersion by low power. And you can see a big difference in this very dark solid. And normally there's a high cover ink coverage, and for that it's a very good result, very even result you can achieve. And the big advantage, I think, is that you can use conventional inks. Because conventional inks is much easier to handle, and you have not be aware of so much things as we use UV inks. And there's another sample of matte gloss effect in its sample book. If you look here, you can see the quality you can achieve with matte gloss effect in a double coater. What we see at the moment in the German packaging market especially, that matte gloss effects are very often used to highlight something. Yeah, for example here, I made a photograph of a perfume box. This is highlighted by a very glossy, and this is very matte. So the contrast makes the effect sharper. It's highlighted.
Are they different areas?
Yeah.
Different areas. If you see the acoustic result is the UV, and especially in the area where the lady is, there is a distinct difference in the image area, image look, much more deeper when it's UV. So is there any way, because we've got a lot of yellowing issues also over here. The image tends to yellow a little after UV. If you look at the aqueous and the UV image, the area where the lady is, her dress looks darker, her skin looks darker. So, is there any disadvantage, or is that a printing error or what?
He's talking of yellowing of...
Yeah.
He's focusing on the lady.
Yeah.
No, because in black it really won't make such a big difference.
He's talking of lady or both of
Yeah, but generally, if you look at the lady, the items a little bit, it gives a higher color energy.
What product are they selling? Selling the lady or selling the girl?
Now, it changes the appearance, and normally it makes the ink appearance stronger. You think you have put down more ink than if you have used dispersion board, but I don't know why it's yellowing. But it's printed on different times, so it could be color degradation. So I want to go forward, and there's a lot of new techniques to achieve math gloss effect. The first is you can print down in a double coder first a primer, which is, for example, a math primer, and put some spot highlights on top. So I have some samples. And with the University of Stuttgart, you can see the differences. But there is a lot of new techniques which you can achieve the same effect with only one coating unit. And to achieve this effect, you put down UV or high-bright ink, and you put down on these regions, which should appear later matte, oil-based print varnish. And after that, you flood the whole sheet with UV coating. And because the print oil varnish changes surface and the volume, it breaks down on this place where the oil print varnish breaks down. And this application shows another way. In this you get a mass effect that is very good register, and you can achieve a very high quality. It can show you if you look here, it's written inline high-bright inks and UV coating. It achieves the matte gloss effect in this way. And what you can feel that the matte is different from matte coating because it's similar like a tactile effect also. It's a different effect you can achieve. But the main advantage is you have very good register because you put down the spot coating by a normal printing plate. The main disadvantage of this thing is in comparison with double coating that you can only achieve the matte gloss effect, but if it's important, it's a very good way to achieve this because you need only one coating unit. And if you don't need matte gloss effect, you can use it, the printing unit as a normal printing unit. There's another effect which works in similar way, but it uses different surface energies. In the first effect, we use the breakdown of the oil print varnish. In this case, we print 4 colors, could be also conventional or UV. And then you put an effect lac on top on this region which should later matte, which has silicone in it. And the silicone, the ink gets another surface energy and the coating pearls on it. And this effect you can use with aqueous coating, also with UV coating. If you use the UV coating, you have to print UV and put the effect lac or the effect varnish on top, and then flood it with UV coating. And this effect coating you can put down also with a printing unit. So you have also a good register. We have a sample with aqueous coating in it. It's called strip of lacquer. This is it. You can see it. This is made with aqueous coating. But also you can see a very good register of the effects. And this is also an easy way to get a matte gloss effect. Also, the matte gloss effect is limited if you use aqueous coating, but if you use UV coating, it's very excellent like the high brightness. There are 2 ways how you can achieve a very contrast in coatings without double coating. another way is offline coding. Offline coding is still upcoming in Europe. I was impressed because I don't inline, but there's a lot of companies which, if you have a double coder, for example, you have to use the machine at maximum 50 or 60% for double coding. If not, you lose money. And we have seen that some companies tries together a double coder for offline coding with the same technology as an inline machine, but they can put down the double coding and they use it together. And there's some specialists which use it for high quality offline coding because you can put it down on the tried conventional ink if you look at some things. But normally the companies code inline with a simple coding, with a simple primer, paper or board, and they bring to this offline coding station, they make all the enhancements. It's very good quality. And first, if I would be asked 5 years ago, I would tell everybody, oh, it's not market, people invested, but there's some machines going out now. And this is a normal way you produce. You put your aqueous coating on top, and after that you make offline your recoating. The aqueous coating has the advantage that you have some protection of the surface. You do not need powder, or normally not need powder if you take a quick drying primer. But you can put also directly on the conventional ink if it's dried properly, probably. But in this case, you have to look at special conventional inks without waxes or without any additives to help. For example, if you put additives as cup or rub resistance, they are not helpful for UV coating. They should be chemical compatible. The advantage is you have a greater product flexibility, you have higher production speeds. If you look at the inline machine, it could be that the UV part lowers your printing speed because you have to look after drying, you have to look after cloth. This is a technical safer process and gives very good gloss results. The gloss results are a little bit higher than the inline process is. Nearby, but it's still better. The disadvantages was it what we have seen is the changes in color shifts, or you can see only after the coating. So you can't see it directly on the printing machine. You can't make any inline effects like this pearl effect or the highlight effect, which is only possible inline. We have higher investment costs. We have to invest in 2 machines. They have a feeder, a delivery unit. Everything has to pay 2 times. And now I want to come to the newest inline technology, which is not coding, but it's like similar thing of coding, because the inline foiler. And this is the installation in our graphics center. And this is the successful story of Roland at the moment. We sold a lot of them worldwide. And I will want to show you the working principle. In one printing unit, you put down a glue via a normal printing plate. Nothing special. This is a special glue you put down, and the glue is on the sheet, and it comes to the next printing unit where the foil follows the blanket cylinder. And it takes up, where the glue is, it takes up the foil to the sheet. And here you can see the arriving, this part is taken off. And I wanted to show you some examples of what are made with it. Normally in the label industry, This is the packaging for cheese. That is battery. And also we have a company that makes facsimile printing, which is very old books in the second way, they sell it for a very high price. But the big advantage of this technology is you can put down a highly glossy foil on the paper and you can print on it. You can make a lot of effects. For example, if you put down a silver foil and you put a print pen in yellow over it, you have a gold. If you print another part with blue, you have a blue shiny foil. And this is a big advantage compared to the offline solution. If you have an offline solution, you can put only the foil on top. Here you can play with foil and inks. We use two stations. One is glue and one is application. At the moment, it's mostly one big hole that you spend a lot of money because there's many places you don't need, but in future you can put all the small holes in it. What? The advantage is you have an optimum register because you use the same technology to put down the glue as you print. You can make very fine lines, which is not possible with hot foil stamping. And yeah, half-tones. You have not half-tones designs. You can. It breaks down one time, but you can make very fine half-tones also. We have made half-tones and as a part of a picture, and you can change the appearance by printing on top. And you can use nearly every printing ink. The best result is with UV, but you can use also conventional. The most jobs run with conventional. Yeah? On the top of the foil, directly on top of the foil. The glue is so hard that it doesn't make any problem. Yeah, here I wrote it down half tone. And I think it's always a very new dimension in quality because you can play around. There's a holographic foil, there's gold silver foils, you have many things you can do. So this was from my point, my presentation. I hope this was interesting for you. So I'm an R&D guy. I'm normally inside of the house. So I'm not a sales or marketing guy, but there's my address, my email address. If you have any technical questions, you can write me. I promise I will answer you.
Thank you.
Perhaps not on the next day, but perhaps in 1 week later.
Thank you, Thomas. Any question answer quickly if you have, because we don't have time now. We
Can you throw some light on blister coating?
Yes.
Lacquer coating, and what is the kind of thickness you should have for the lacquer and the curing time for it?
Normally the recommended for blister coating double coating unit with 2 18 grams rollers, analog rollers, which means normally 12 grams on paper or board.
Say for aqueous, solvent based, can it come down or?
Now, normally aqueous blister coating. We do not have for solvent coating units because you need some special electric things to do if you use solvent based. But there's many companies using blister coating with double coating units.
For 12 grams of coating, can we achieve on a single coat? We have 2 different coats coating.
Yeah.
On a single coating, can we achieve 12 grams?
grams of coating on the
No.
offset? No.
You need a certain amount of blister coating on top. But only the blister coating on top works. If you print something on top which closes the surface of the board, perhaps it works. I know that some companies made this. But if you normally have a board which sucks a lot of the coating in it, you lose the thickness you need to glue the plastic on top.
Can we have a pre-coat, have some curing time, then have another coat? Or should both the coatings be in line?
This I have to verify. I know that one customer do with single coating. As I know, he made by a printing unit some kind of pre-coating.
I think Thomas, because they want to vacate the role. You can ask him or anything on mail.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm sorry, friends, because these people are giving me signals, so we have to vacate this all before and there is some function next month.
It's okay.
Thank you to Mr. Thomas Walther. Friends, before we conclude, tomorrow we have postponed little bit from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock, if those who have registered for Grand Gala, evening function, Grand Gala, that is BMP Golden Jubilee celebrations presented by Xerox at Hyatt Regency. So it will be at 8 o'clock. So please be there at 7:30. Please be there at 7:30 in your seat. So there will be great fun and you will be enjoying the.
Bus from here at 3 o'clock.